You and I were visiting Sharon and Jimmy in Kansas City. This was probably around 1975. Sharon was pregnant for the first time. Jimmy was at work, and you and I and Sharon went to a shopping mall. She excused herself and went to the ladies' room. We waited, and she came out, and she went, "Oh my God, my water just broke." I don't even think you and I knew what that meant. Then later that same day, we witnessed Jimmy frantically getting on the telephone, calling different hospital maternity wards to reserve a room for Sharon. I mean, it was like he was calling the holiday.
Night in Chatham, Massachusetts, as we lay on blankets under the stars listening to the band concert, watching Jimmy just absolutely relax, and Sharon stroke his head looking up at the stars. It was a very lovely memory.
Our trip to France, and we had rented a car with a stick shift, and only Richard knew how to drive it, so he was always the driver, and Jimmy was the navigator. So we're driving through the countryside in France, and all of a sudden Jimmy had navigated us into the middle of a vineyard. And I think that the owner was not too happy with us that we were driving through his vineyard. And we later wondered whether or not the exhaust from the car had ruined his grape crop that year. But we laughed really hard because it was not easy to get out of the vineyard.
But we were on a dirt road. We didn't ruin any wine vines.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
Playing tennis at Homestead, eating lunch at Pumpernicks, going to Aspen, going to Las Vegas.
And Phoenix, and watching your beautiful children grow up and sharing lifelong memories together with lots of laughter.
Our family vacations, both the good and the bad. Remember the trip to Washington, D.C. and New York? Probably ranks down as one of, maybe your nightmares, but funniest family vacation of all time, as well as the many trips to the Dude Ranches, sing Basic Instinct on Allison's birthday, and then also the great trips we've had just solo. Dad, our baseball trip with Paul across to the many baseball parks, and Mom, our various road trips, taking me to D.C., Chicago, to college, and then our great time at Canyon Ranch. I think, family trips and time together is definitely going to be something I will hope to do with my family one day when I have one.
When Sharon and I took our mothers to stay at Sharon's house in Colorado, and I have pictures of us sitting with our mothers in these overstuffed chairs. They loved it and we loved it. Okay. That's one of my best memories.
And we've had great trips together, and I'm looking forward to many more great trips and good times.
To boil it all down to a few memories is very hard, but I'll start with you, Dad, going to Game 7 of the 1985 World Series. What a thrill. How we lived out every father-son dream as our home team clinched the World Series, and you jumping off the dugout, spur of the moment, euphoria. I getting trampled by the rest of the people going down to the field while you got tackled by the police, but the policeman did let me down, and he did let us go on the field, and to give a high five to George Brett and Frank White and all of my other childhood heroes growing up. What a real thrill, what a real treat, how special that was. And Mom, I do actually recall my young childhood driving around with you and always telling jokes and you laughing at them and you telling me that I always made you laugh. I hope I can still do that. One memory that stands out is the trip that you came on with me, my first school trip to Washington, D.C. and Gettysburg. You were there by my side in partnership, crazy group of kids, as we trekked our way through the living history.
Well, I have a memory that I wasn't there for, Sharon. I've only heard about it, but I wish I had been there because you're my hero. This would have been when you rode up in Aspen to Ashcroft. And as you know, I've only heard about it, but I'm very jealous and wish I could do it, which I can't, not at this point with my knee. And Ron?
And I always think about Jimmy as being the guy who takes care of the complicated betting systems that we set up on our golf games. We don't really understand them, Jimmy does, and he can usually tell us who the winner is going to be before we even start. But he works it out, and without him, we get confused. It took Ward 2 weeks to get us the answer the week that he kept track.
Well, one of my favorite memories, is probably one of the funniest, was on my 30th birthday. Bud surprised me, took me to La Mediterranee, and invited some of my closest friends, and of course among them were Jimmy and Sharon. And Jimmy was doing Weight Watchers and very carefully checked the menu and ate properly. And then for dessert, out came a flaming baked Alaska. And when they cut into it, there was some little pieces of fruit around it. And Jimmy's looked at it and says, "Oh, it has fruit in it. I can eat that." And he did.
Dad, I remember Mother's Day and you getting us all organized to sing Inka-Dinka-Doo and making sure we knew every word, and we'd rehearse it, and then we sang it together, and it was awesome. And I thought, with certainty, some professional had written that song. And then I remember you taking me and Karen to school and listening to Les Miserables because it was your favorite musical of the time. Clearly Chicago hadn't come out yet. And we would call it The Miserables, but you still continued to make us listen to it or encourage us to listen to it, and I'm so grateful for that today. And then I remember your black jogging suits that you would wear to basketball practice when you coached my 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade basketball team, which was pretty awesome. Maybe we should have a reunion of that team someday soon. Mom, some of my favorite memories of you are, I remember you taking me dress shopping for my bat mitzvah. And that certainly influenced my shopping habits today, because I'm pretty sure we spent extensive amounts of time looking for the perfect dress and brought home 5 or 6 dresses before we found the perfect dress. And it really was the perfect dress. It made me feel so special. And I remember you helping with May Day. You ensured that I had this beautiful yellow dress to wear with all these wonderful flowers on my hoop. And I will always remember May Day so fondly as a result. And I remember both of you coming to all of my field hockey games and my soccer games and cheering me on. And Mom would drive us time and time and time again to every activity you both made us sure we did, so that we were outstanding, wonderful citizens. And then Mom took me on a college tour trip on the East Coast, and that was quite a trip, as I was trying to be an independent teenager, and she wanted to share how cool she was with me by showing me some pretty outstanding colleges. So those are just a few of my favorite memories of both of you, but really, thinking back and now as a parent, I'm just so grateful for the wonderful parents you were. You took everything about our growth, the opportunities we had, the experiences we had so seriously, and made sure that everything was possible for us. And for that, I am forever grateful. And I will strive to be as good of a parent as you were every day of my parenthood.
Thanksgiving, because I look forward to it every year. It's one of my favorite things, and times for everyone to be together.
One of my favorite memories was from back when you guys had the house in Aspen, and we went climbing in the grottos, and it was just really fun, kind of like exploring the area and just being with you guys. It was a great time.
When we were in Aspen a few years back when Sophie was just a baby, and we had a great vacation with you guys, hiking, bike riding, playing golf, and just hanging out. It was such a wonderful, wonderful trip. We still think about it. And also just thanks for all the good times of being at Thanksgiving in Kansas City, and just always being around for good times. So many, many more happy birthdays, and we love you a lot. Have a great time.